Will the pro-democracy opposition take power in Thailand? It secured a significant victory in the general election and promises major reforms. But with the military so powerful, how can it achieve this? This is Inside Story. Hello there, I'm Laura Kyle. Thailand's opposition has won the general elections by a landslide. But the question now is whether the military elite will let it govern. The leader of the Move Forward party is ready to be the next prime minister. But first, Peter Limjaroenrat must form a coalition that can overcome the military-appointed Senate. He must win a majority of seats in the upper and lower houses of parliament to form the next government and push ahead with big reforms promised on the campaign trail. We'll explore these issues with our guests in a moment, but first, this report from Katia Lopez-Hodayan.
Voters in Thailand have overwhelmingly backed the opposition, rejecting years of status quo in government. Now the head of the progressive Move Forward party could be the country's new leader.
I am ready to be the prime minister for all, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me.
But for that to happen, there's yet another political hurdle. A major bloc in the Senate is appointed by the military, and it also gets a say on who becomes prime minister and who leads any new government. The opposition has a newly formed coalition, most notably with the Pheu Thai party. The alliance must now strike a deal to win over some of these junta-backed politicians. Frustration has been brewing in Thailand well before the election. Thousands of protests broke out in 2020, with demonstrators openly criticizing the monarchy and demanding Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha step down. Now the general who led the country after seizing power in a 2014 military coup has acknowledged his defeat.
From now, it's about a transition and the formation of a government. All Thais should love each other and be united for the country without conflict.
Thailand is the second largest economy in Southeast Asia after Indonesia. Rising inflation and the youth's vote played a major role in the election result.
We were all hoping the government would move the economy forward. Right now, to earn even $10 is challenging if I sell coffee for half a day. The economy is bad.
I feel the election results carry a new meaning that could bring about even more changes. I hope good things will be happening in Thailand.
With a political shift in politics, Thailand must now wait to see if a new government will also reflect a new direction. Katia Lopez-Hodayan for Inside Story.
Okay, well, let's get into the discussion now and join our guests, all from Bangkok. Parit Wacharasin is Policy Campaign Manager for the Move Forward Party and an MP-elect in the Thai government. Panchadar Siriwanabud is a specialist in Thai politics and associate professor at Mahidol University. And Sean Boonprakon is a political analyst and former national security advisor to the then Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. A very warm welcome to all of you. Parit Wacharasin, first of all, congratulations on your win. It has sent shockwaves through Thailand. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the election results were actually even beyond our own internal expectations. I think, and what it demonstrates is a clear demand for change that the Thai people want to see. I mean, if you look beyond just the results of Move Forward Party, you realize that there are only two parties that were able to get more than 100 seats, and only two parties that were able to get support from more than 10 million voters, and that is Move Forward Party and Per Thai Party, both of whom were in the opposition side of the political spectrum over the past 4 years. So I think what it demonstrates is a clear demand for change from the Thai people. Right now, I think what we are trying to do is to push ahead to form a government that can push through these progressive reforms across both political, economic and social issues.
Yeah, we'll look at just how easy or difficult that's going to be in just a moment. Sean, for the first time, Pheu Thai, it may have come second in this election, but it's the first time that it's lost the popular vote. Has the Shinawatra dynasty lost its shine?
Well, I would like to caution this, even if I want to congratulate Khun Parit for his party victory. But in terms of numbers of district MPs, it was very close, 113 to 112. But yes, the party list, the Move Forward Party leads Pheu Thai by substantial margin. But both of us, both of our parties, both of Pheu Thai and Gaokai have been an ally. We may have some differences, but we also want to move the country forward, and Pheu Thai want to work with and give the Gaokai MFW a chance to form the government, and we will refrain from doing anything beyond what is a political courtesy and wait for that. However, we also know that with our coalition, Khun Pitha of Move Forward only has 310 votes. In order to be a prime minister, it requires 376 votes. For the steps we have to go through before that date, there's a political timetable here. EC has to certify around in 60 days for it for official result. Then there's a process to elect the House Speaker. The next would be the Prime Minister. And so far, Move Forward has to work hard to recruit more members or even appeal to appointed Senate in order for to be the Prime Minister.
Okay, well, let's ask Panchadar whether she thinks that this can be achieved. Can this coalition lure more people to join it to reach that magic 376 number, whereby it can easily form its own government and choose its own leader?
Well, first off, good evening from Bangkok, and congratulations to Khun Parit. Well, this is a lot of criticisms on this because everyone who voted for Move Forward Party, they want Move Forward to form the coalition government and to become the prime minister. The party leaders of Move Forward supposed to be the prime minister. But so far, I think it's a really difficult time because, in Thailand or in all the media channel, the senators, a lot of senators has already given interview for a lot of media that they will not vote, to support Move Forward to become the prime minister and also to form the coalition government. So at this time, even though Pheu Thai sort of agree that they would support Move Forward to form the coalition government, but they are still, not guarantee whether or not Move Forward can file 376, as the earlier speaker have just said. 376 is a really important number that Move Forward have to fight for it, and so far, it seems like Move Forward, kind of expect the Senate, to vote to support them. Which is, for me, I think it's a bit difficult, and we have to wait and see whether or not Move Forward can form the coalition and to nominate the prime minister with the 376 seats.
Okay, so Parit, we've heard from the Move Forward Party leader Peter Limjaroenrat. He's almost dared the Senate to defy the vote outcome, to defy the people's will. But as Panchadar says, is it an unrealistic request to get this military-backed number of members in the Senate to switch allegiances?
I don't think it's an unrealistic request. I mean, we always reiterate that giving a military-appointed Senate the power to vote for Prime Minister is undemocratic in nature. But I think there are two important numbers to bear in mind. The first one is, of course, 376, which is basically the 50% of the joint houses of parliament to get elected Prime Minister. But the second number is 250, which is actually the target for actually managing the government. Because once you form a government, any votes on laws, any votes on the budget, or any votes on no confidence actually does not involve the Senate. So in that sense, even though the 250 senators could theoretically block a prime minister that demands the majority of the lower house in the vote for the prime minister. But I don't see the point of doing that, because if they prop up any prime minister that only commands a minority of the lower house, then that prime minister, whoever he or she may be, cannot actually govern, cannot pass any bills, cannot pass any budget, and will get voted down in no conference straight away. But I think, to speak in numbers, right, how do we get to that 376? I think right now, the set of parties that we are planning to form a coalition with gets us to about 310. The question is, where is the other 60 going to come from? I think two sources. The first source is actually the senators, because we see that a lot of senators who came out and spoke against voting for Move Forward Prime Minister do not represent the viewpoint of all senators. And as recently as today, we are seeing more and more senators coming out saying that they will back Move Forward led coalition, not because they particularly like Move Forward, but because they want to abide by democratic rules, that they should support a set of parties that can, or a government that can command more than half the lower house. And the second source of support is actually from the other parties that are not in the coalition. But given this special circumstance, they might respectfully vote for a Move Forward-led coalition, even though they will not be part of the government, just to block out the issue of the senators blocking the majority government.
OK. Sean, Barrett is expressing some optimism there that the party can move forward and form the government, also questioning why the military would put a weak leader in place in charge of a minority government. But from your experience with Pheu Thai Party, this has happened before, hasn't it? Back in 2019, Pheu Thai won again the popular vote, but didn't get to rule the country. Parath Charocha was put in place by the military.
I see this peculiarity of this constitution. It was written to retain the advantage of the military incumbent. And then, therefore, in order to move the country forward, there has to be some sort of compromise among the appointed senators. And like when Parrott said, that they have made some gestures to get the country moving forward. I really wouldn't lose that much hope. We have to take a little bit of step each time. And the mood of the country is, even if, to me, the Senate is in a little bit of a lame duck. They have 1 year left to go. And if Move Forward, talk to them nicely, they could produce a result that can be surprising. But then we are in a situation that is kind of unknown here. I don't want to go on the limb to say that Move Forward will succeed, but this is a situation where we are. We have 60 days for this to happen. There's plenty of maneuvering. In Thai politics, there's a lot of dark arts happen all the time. There has been a substantial of underneath table moving, but this is what EC has to certify this. And for the near future, nobody knows, but let's hope that Move Forward could form the government since they won.
Panchadar, let's look at the Election Commission. As Sean has said, it has 60 days to certify the result. Now, it's worth mentioning, isn't it, that the Election Commission is part of the establishment, the powerful conservative establishment which controls largely the courts, the Election Commission, and has many tools at its disposal to retain the status quo. So what are the chances that the Election Commission is actually going to certify this result?
Well, I think, a lot of people criticize the election commissions of Thailand since the 2019 election and also this election as well. But, I think this time is a bit better than last election because, a lot of people and, social media and online media trying to observe how the election commissions handle these elections. And, at this time, election commission trying to, I think they will prolong the way they're going to announce the result of the election this time. So it's going to take 60 days. And after that, it's the time that we can see the coalition government. If the people in Thailand, especially the young generation, be involved in the politics like this and keep doing this, until we find out who's going to be the coalition government. It will help to observe how the election commission handle the situation and investigate anything that might do wrong with the election commission as well.
Parrot, there are some big reforms on the Move Forward agenda. What are your priorities there?
I think let me just come back to your previous question a little bit, Laura, and just to clarify and give you kind of two more sources of hope. The first one is that the situation is slightly different between 2019 and the current election, because this time round, Move Forward and Pheu Thai together, when you add the numbers together, form more than half of the MPs in the lower house. This was not the case back in 2019, which then allowed the Senate to have an excuse to vote and retain General Prayut. So this time is slightly different. And the second source of information is that actually across the past 3 years, there have been at least 60 senators who voted in agreement with abolishing their power to vote for who becomes prime minister, even though that didn't pass and that wasn't the majority of the senators. But there were at least 60 who were in favor, or at least were opposed to them having this power to elect who becomes prime minister. So we're hopeful that these 60 senators will also retain what they had voted for previously as well. To your question on our agenda, I mean, we have 300 policies that we introduced and communicated with the voters before the election. So, I mean, of course, in a coalition government, there will have to be conversations about how much that is in line with the other coalition parties. But as the largest party, I think we will try and push ahead as many of our policies as possible as a joint agenda for the government. And that includes things like democratization, it includes things like demilitarization, it includes our agenda to decentralize power to local governments, to reduce inequality through an expansion of welfare state, as well as reforms of the education system and the civil service. So, I mean, they're all important. And I think right now is the situations that we're in conversations with other coalition partners about what should be the joint agenda of the coalition government.
Okay. Sean, demilitarization. Is the military in Thailand ready to relinquish power?
Well, apparently this is the joint policy platform of both Pheu Thai and Move Forward is to make the military to get rid of the draft. So it would be volunteer army, just like United States. And word that I have heard is that Kun Pitha, the head of Gaogai, want to take over two key ministries. One of them is the Ministry of Defense and the Education. And part of this political reform is to push through this volunteer army. But I want to point out that for the issue concerning the nation is more than just reform alone, but the economic malaise that Thailand faced for the past 8 years. The last 2 years, especially with the COVID, Thai people are in really, really bad shape. And this new coalition government must put focus on economic priority as the Pheu Thai has put forward, and not as much clearer as from MFW, but we hope they could put and understand this priority.
Okay, Parrot, the economy, is that going to be a #1 priority?
I mean, the economy is a priority for us. So, I mean, if you look at our 300 policies, I may have to respectfully disagree with the earlier statement that we have not been clear on our economic policies. I mean, we actually announced not just the 300 policies that we wanted to do across our 4-year term, but we also presented a 100-day roadmap of what we will do in the first 100 days. And part of that will include economic initiatives, whether it's reducing electricity bills, whether it's introducing a new program that allows for SMEs to be able to compete more against the big businesses, as well as increasing minimum wage to 450 baht per day within the first 100 days, and then amending the law to ensure that minimum wage rises automatically each year based on inflation and economic growth. So I think I have to respectfully disagree with the assumption that Move Forward Party's agenda is not focused on economic priorities. I think what we're trying to say is that solving the economic issues as well as doing the necessary reforms of various political institutions and the civil service and education can be done in parallel, and that's what we will do.
Okay, and I'm sure many of those more detailed conversations will be happening over the coming days and weeks between these potential coalition partners. Panchada, I want to get back to this issue of the military because it's still, well, there's a lot of optimism today that it will relinquish power. There's really still no certainty, and looking at history, it has a huge amount of power in Thailand. There's been many, many military coups in its history when it hasn't gone the way of the military. We talk about demilitarization. Yes, removing the draft is one thing, but what about removing the military from politics? Is it ready to withdraw there?
Well, I think, most of the political party and even, the young generation, they want, the military to be out of the politics. But in practice at this time, I think it's a little bit hard because, they are supporting the conservative side. And then to get them out from the politics, there should be a, really slow continuous process, and it has to be take some time. And at this election, I think it's really clear that, most of the people in Thailand, they don't military to be reserve or, working in the politics anymore. And as a result of the elections, the two major pro-military party has been, they gain a little numbers of votes. And, the Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, seem to be, stop working and stop being in the politics. As you can see today, one of his colleagues and one of the former minister have pointed out that the Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, maybe stop and try to not going to be involved in politics anymore. But again, we don't really know how it's going to be like. It just depends on how the coalition government going to be like. If Move Forward cannot really form the coalition government and Pita cannot be the prime minister and let the second political party, Pheu Thai, to join, to be, the leading of the coalition government and to become the prime minister. That's a second option that a lot of people talking about it, that Pheu Thai might join with other pro-military political parties or Palang Pracharat party to form the coalition government. So then at this time, I think Pheu Thai is a really important factor, whether they're going to really join with Move Forward to form a coalition government. And I hope it's going to happen. But if not, there's another option that Pheu Thai would form another coalition government with other political parties.
Sean, what is the chance of that happening, that Pheu Thai will abandon the Move Forward party and join with the pro-military parties?
Today, the Pheu Thai party has come out and said they would play by a political rule which allowed Move Forward to be the first to to form this government and without using the two uncles, meaning the military parties involved. And I have to abide by that reasoning. But of course, there's always a lot of scenario. A lot of things can happen in 60 days before the House first session. There could be a lot of political maneuvering. And if the Senate rejected, or if Move Forward got short numbers for some reason in negotiation to get so-called 60 possible independent senators not to side with them is such an unknown future that I can't comment upon. And Thailand being a difficult situation politically for a long time in terms of not having a constitutional election. So all sides are watching each other very, very well, and we have to see what really would happen. But Pheu Thai want to play by the rules.
Okay. Parrot, a major part of Move Forward Party's campaign agenda was a promise to amend the sensitive Lesa Majeste laws. Peter has already vowed to go ahead with that. Is he not worried that he's going to suffer the same fate as the future Ford founder and be charged under Section 112, which, of course, charges under criticism of the monarchy?
Yeah, so I will reconfirm that amending Article 112 is one of our 300 policies that we will push ahead. I think we are not afraid that will put us in a position where our leader will be charged with Section 112. because we know that what we are doing is a proposal to amend a law in the criminal code, which is something that it's normal to do. And I think we've been very clear with the public about which problems that we want to fix and how we want to amend the law. And I believe we will not be the only party as well in the parliament that will support amendment of this law. So we will not be isolated in this agenda.
Panchadar, that we're even talking about lèse majesté laws is a huge change in Thailand from a few years ago. The country is really undergoing massive change and is about to enter a big period of uncertainty, isn't it?
Well, I think, at this time, because of the move forward the election, I think it's going to be a lot of change. But, the process to change all this, especially the Article 112, is really difficult, even though the move forward can, submit this to the parliament because they have enough number. But, that's another process to go through. And also it has to be approved by the Senate as well. So then, I think it's a bit difficult to change this 112 article, even though, they want to amend it. And everyone in Thailand, especially the young generation, they has been requesting this for a really long time. But I think we have to wait and see whether, how this going to be happen and how move forward going to amend and how this going to other political party, whether or not they're going to support move forward on changing this Article 112.
Absolutely. I believe we'll be revisiting this story a fair bit over the next 60 days, the next couple of months. Many thanks today to our guests for joining us for a very interesting discussion. Parit Wacharasin, Panchadar Siriwanabud and Sean Boonprakon. And thank you too for watching. You can see the programme again anytime by visiting our website, that's aljazeera.com. For further discussion, do go to our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. You can also join the conversation on Twitter. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story. From me, Laura Kyle, and the whole team here, it's bye for now.